Greetings and salutations. David Duford here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Welcome back to another Monday Final Expense Fundamentals training session. Today we've got lots of going on that we're going to try to fit into this hour-long shindig. First of all, as we'll start here momentarily, we've got Michael Carley on the line, who's from Oxford. In a minute, I'm going to call on him to jump on and share his screen and tell us more about Oxford Life for final expense sales, and take your questions that you have on Oxford Life. In the meantime, just a couple of reminders and heads up. So first of all, if you haven't booked a time or a date to our conference, next Friday, February 21st, we're having my first ever in-person live training conference. It's a one-day event from about 9 o'clock till 3 or 4, whenever we end. So please make sure that you join. Got lots of speakers. Prosperity Life is coming in. Should be an overall good time. If you can't make this one, don't worry. I have committed myself to doing multiple David Duford Experience roadshows. So I plan on being in Dallas, maybe in March or May, Orlando, March or May or August, and then several agents' recommendation, somewhere in Vegas. So, yeah, I hear you, Steve. Understand completely. So make sure you join there. Also, I want to point out something to you guys. One of my objectives this year is to give as much as possible to everybody as far as helping them get up and running and training and make sure everything is just absolutely awesome so you can get out there and do the best you can. So if you don't know by now, this is the training website. I just have worked through a bunch of rehab on the scripting. I've updated it. I'll probably go over this a little bit later if I've got time. Got some new stuff going on. Want to cover it with you there. Just check it out. Tell me what you think. I'm going to continue working on this really over the next week or so. Probably tomorrow or Wednesday I'll be done with it. So, and then on Thursday, remember, thank you, Steve. Yeah, you like the cheat sheet. So on Thursday, we're at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're doing our first ever onboarding, welcome to David Duford's agency video. I used to just let my website do the talking and teaching, but I've decided it's based on popular opinion. Doing a live one to answer your questions is going to be good. So make sure you join that. I'll walk you through the website, give you some steps that you need to take in order to get up and running. To sell whatever it is that you're selling successfully, final expense, annuities, Medicare Advantage, so on and so forth. And I'll be happy to take your questions too as well. Of course, Tuesday at 9 a.m. tomorrow, we're doing a role-playing scripting session talking about appointment setting over the phone and door knocking. So if that's something you want to work on and improve, please join then. Same thing for Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Most likely, I'll be doing a walkthrough of an entire presentation that day. If anybody's interested to test their script out on me in a public format, that would be a great opportunity. I'll play prospect, you play agent, and I'll tell you what you need to improve. And then Wednesday, we're doing carrier training, so more of kind of the same. So other than that, I'm going to hand this over to, let's see here. Where'd he go, Mike? Mike, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Let me see if I can't get my screen up for you guys here.
Certainly.
How's that looking?
All right. It looks beautiful. I see Oxford Life products, so you're good to go.
Wonderful. I appreciate you guys coming and spending a few minutes with me in Oxford today, and David for inviting me in. Sounds like you have a lot going on there, so I'll try not to take up too much of your time. David asked me to come in and talk a little bit about our final expense products through Oxford Life Insurance Company. And we're pretty excited about this lineup. We've been doing this for a long, long time. It's one of our flagships. We're very highly successful and competitive out there. And so hopefully, if you're not too aware of Oxford or you are aware of Oxford, maybe you'll learn a little bit about it here today. Again, this is the Life Products Final Expense. See if I can't get my computer to work for me. There it is. So I'm going to start by introducing you to some of the players that are out there, the regional directors. This is Mr. Chad Knies. He's the regional director. There's his contact information in the states that he represents. This is Dan Winders. He is the Western Regional, and those are the states that he represents as well. And here's yours truly right now, speaking with you on the phone. I am the Central Regional Director. That is all of my contact information. The contact information can also be found on our website, and if we get a couple of minutes, we might be able to show you that as well. For those tuning in, wondering if your state is available, we operate in all states except for 4. So if you're joining us from Alabama, New York, West Virginia, or Mississippi, unfortunately, we do not have contracts available in those states right now. But for the rest of the United States, all of our products are available there. So let's talk a little bit about Oxford Life. We are an A-rated excellent company by AM Best. In fact, we were just recently upgraded to a positive outlook somewhere around July. So we're moving in the right directions. We pretty much operate in 3 spaces: life insurance, annuities, and Medicare supplement. Medicare supplement is very strong in Part G. A little bit limited on what states we're available in there, but you can certainly call me or check on the website, and you'll be able to see what states that those products are available in. Our life insurance products, of course, is our final expense, very strong in single premium, and our annuities out there along the lines of MIGAs, fixed equity index, some of the best that you're going to be able to find out there. We primarily work in the senior space, and we were founded in 1965 in Oxford or in Arizona, and we continued to be domiciled there. Now, currently, this is a little bit of a older slide, but right now we're just shy of $3.6 billion. Oxford Life as a company standalone itself. Hopefully, I'll get that upgraded for you next time. Now, this is a little bit of a fun slide for those agents that are not aware of us, or even agents who've been with us for a long time, are not really familiar with our corporate structure. Our main umbrella company is Amerco. It doesn't have a vowel in the middle of it, so it's Amerco is what it is. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see some insurance companies, Oxford Life, of course, being one of them, North American and Christian Fidelity. And then on the left-hand side, you'll notice that you'll see U-Haul. Yes, that is U-Haul, the moving and storage company. It's a pretty weird dynamic when you see that mixed in with a bunch of life insurance companies, but it does work very well for us for a couple of reasons. We do shared resources. So our legal, our HR, everything is shared amongst us. It allows us as Oxford Life to remain lean and mean and be able to, instead of bloating our line with, HR and legal and all that sort of stuff, we're able to focus more on our products, our commissions, and being the most competitive that's available out there. But I also think that there's another thing to it is everybody knows U-Haul. You know, your client might know Oxford, you might be too aware of Oxford Life itself, but everybody has seen the van, rented the van, seen the storage, been on the side of the road. So it does give us a real brick and mortar feel. And this relationship, I guess, as a sister company has really worked out very positive for us. So that's a little bit of the inside look at the corporate structure. Now, why do Oxford Life? We believe that our financial strength is there, A-minus, with the outlook going positive for us. We do have unique and competitive products all along the lines of not only with our final expense, but we do have some unique products when it comes into annuities. And maybe someday we can talk a little bit more about that, or if we have time, answer some questions today. Our commissions are on the top levels that you'll find out there. That goes without saying. If you ever sold any of our products, you know that you're paid fair straight up. With that, time-saving, convenient Insta-Rate application. This is a pure point-of-sale decision process. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to walk you through the process itself. But I want you to be aware that this is probably one of the best pieces of product that we do have available out there is our Insta-Rate application process. And I guess with the superior customer, producer and customer service, it's a bullet point, but I think it's something that we need to prove, and hopefully at some point in time, we'll have an opportunity to do that just for you guys. And of course, you got your regional directors out there. You can call us at any point in time to help you through anything from straight up contracting right to your first piece of business. Now, let's talk a little bit about final expense. This is our assurance product. That's what we call our final expense product, is the assurance. This is your old school pay-as-you-go final expense product. We're pretty excited about this, and I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why. Now, we're sort of hit over the head all the time with stats and everything like that, but sometimes it goes without saying that it should be, remembered. The first baby boomers turned 65 in 2011. It's expected to double by 2030. That means 1 out of 5 Americans, or around 72 million people, are going to be 65 years or older. But I think the most important stat here is the final bullet point, that approximately 45% of seniors age 65 are not covered by any life insurance. And by any life insurance, I'm talking about ULs, I'm talking about permanent, I'm talking about term. They have absolutely no life insurance at all. And I guess that's understandable, because most people, they get their life insurance or any insurance through work. And when they leave work, they leave that insurance behind. Now, statistics are showing that over 60% of that 45% know that they need some form of life insurance. It's just a matter of getting in front of the right people to be able to explain to them how it works and to get them covered up again. So this is pretty important stuff right here. This whole sector is exploding as we're talking right now. And here's why. There's really only 2 ways that you're going to pay for a funeral. You're either going to self-fund it or you're going to insure it. I guess there's the third way, I guess, is the GoFundMe option that not really everybody is too crazy about doing these days. But you can see that it's not getting any cheaper. In 2012, the average funeral was $8,300. But if your client is around in 2030, that is going to raise to $14,200. That is your basic funeral costs. That's no fluff, nothing like that involved into it. And of course, you can see the government really is non-existent. If you do qualify, your Social Security give you a one-time lump sum of $255, and if you're a veteran, they might bump that up to $300 again if you qualify. So there's really only a couple of ways of doing this. You're going to self-fund it, or you're going to find some form of insurance to be able to cover it. And these are just your traditional final expenses. These are your cemetery pots or your casket or urn, just a tombstone, funeral home or church services, just people coming in and viewing the body, a couple of flowers. Just really your basic. And 2030 is going to cost you over $14,000 just for simple things like this. And these are things that we can sort of get our heads around. This is something that we could sit down and talk to a client and say, well, have you looked at the price of a cemetery plot, or what kind of tombstone are you thinking about? And let's take a look at some of these prices and stuff like that. We do have a memorial guide you can get off our website that lists a lot of this stuff, really help you walk down and sort of open the eyes to the client on the actual prices of things that are going to occur out there when they die. But what about things that they don't know what's going to happen? Other possible final expenses, unpaid med bills, emergency rooms, paramedics and ambulance costs, nursing home bills. Nobody today can sit down and try to figure out what they're going to be in 10, 12, 15 years from now. So this is the power of a final expense, that it not only looks after those solid costs that we know that's going to come into a funeral, but what about those outliers that are out there, that could possibly pop up and put a family in real financial trouble should, many of these things will occur. So our final expense products, we do have 2 what I call flavors. Our assurance product is a level premium. This is your old school. Whole life designed to provide a guaranteed benefit to help people. So you pay as you go. You can pay monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. If you're going to be going with the monthly, it would be some sort of EFT payment through a bank or something, but we will accept, a check or a money order or anything for the other payment options that are available. So that's your old school assurance. Another one of our very popular products is the Assurance One. And just like the name states, it is a single premium product. So it's underwritten the exact same way as our pay-as-you-go option. You know, there's no differences involved. There's no differences in costs in it. All they do is they just pay for it all in one lump sum. And that sort of leaves a lot of people ask me, you know, they're like, look, Mike, I haven't had enough time finding these people pay their $40, $50, $60 a month. You know, where are they going to write a check all of a sudden? And there's a couple of ways you can do it. One, there are people out there that will write a check for it, and they're capable of writing a check for it. They see, you know, the benefit of saying, well, if I write you a check of X amount, and I'm going to double that and more, you know, day one, and not have to worry about final expenses. There are people that'll do it. But what this thing is great for, and you'll see that, is great for a 1035 exchange from current final expense policies. Maybe you have a guy who's paying into his final expense for the past 7, 8, 9 years. He does have some cash value built up into that thing, and he can no longer afford it, or maybe he just doesn't want to pay for it anymore. You can do a tax-free 1035 exchange into the Assurance One product, one and done. He doesn't have to worry about payments anymore, and his final expense needs are immediately looked after. The second way that I see a lot of agents using this are these old UL policies. If you remember those old vanishing policies, and believe me when I tell you, they're still out there. I work with an agent in Georgia that last month alone wrote $27,000 in Assurance One final expense just by digging up these old UL policies. You know, these are the ones that were, you know, they were quoted with very low payments, and, you know, there's cash value in there, but the payments keep increasing. So the client has one of two choices. They either have to keep paying the higher amounts, or they allow it to eat away at the cash value until eventually that policy blows up. Move that money from that old UL, take that cash value, put it into Assurance One, and again, one and done. They are out there, these old UL policies, trust me. So this here, I'm going to do this pretty quickly, but it's not to take away from it. This is one of our most downloaded forms that are on our website, and it's really just a little fact finder. It's a one-pager, none of these big 9-page things that you go in, you're scared to death out of a potential client asking them everything under a rock. This is a very simple fact finder. You can sit down with your clients, and let's assume, I'll walk you through it real quick. So we have a husband and wife. We got Tim and Joan, and both of them are retired. And Tim is making $23.50 on Social Security. And maybe he has a pension. He worked at the telephone company and he has a life-only pension coming from there. And Joan, of course, has her own Social Security and her own little pension that's coming her way. Totaling up $5,725. Not bad, right? It's pretty good for two people, $5,700 a month living on that. But what do you have to lose? This is where the what if comes into it. Most Social Security recipients don't understand that when the first person dies, the lesser of the retirement Social Security is taken out of the equation. So let's say that Joan wakes up one morning, Tim doesn't. Here's the immediate effect. $1,275 is out of the bucket. His life-only pension with the telephone company, out of the bucket. All of a sudden, it's almost in half the amount of the income that they have. So now all of a sudden, Joan is living on $2,950. Now, many people will say, yeah, but the costs are lower. Groceries are probably lower. They don't spend as much money in gas. For every one of those, there are at least 5 or 6 items that actually, through statistics, show they increase. Like, let's take this for example. Tim was the guy who was always out there shoveling the snow or mowing the lawns. He was the little fix-it guy that was running around the house and fixing doorknobs, maybe a bit of electrical, if the toilet's clogged up, any sort of thing like that. Now what happens is Tim is gone. Joan is hiring that out right now. So it's costing her a lot more money. Statistically, it's also shown that Joan, like most widows and widowers, are going to eat out more often. They don't want to cook for one person. They don't want to eat alone. So the costs of they might lower groceries, but they're paying a lot more money that's out there. So the difference between these two numbers could be astronomical in the short term, especially not only financially, but when Joan is going through, emotional turmoil at that point in time at the loss of her husband. So you can download this form and use it. A lot of people, what they do is they bring it down to Kinko's. They laminate it. They get a dry erase marker. They do the little walkthrough with their clients, take a picture of it, erase it, gone out the door to the next appointment that they have. Couple little talk about our low cost. We are a low cost provider. I'll give you a second to sort of look through these. In blue is Oxford, and on the others are some of the competition that are out there. What you're going to find is that Oxford, in most cases, is going to be having a better premium for the same benefit that's out there. You're looking at a female non-tobacco smoker, $10,000 worth of coverage. There's the monthly premiums that are available out there right now. If we do not make the quote, we're usually within cents, if not $1 or $2 away from that. And there's your male, and a lot of people will say, well, it's all about my service, and I'm a good guy, and I look after my clients, and we really expect you to have to be able, want to be able to do something like that. But as the old saying goes, it's not the business that you bring in, it's the business that you keep. And you don't want someone coming in behind you, 6 days later, 6 weeks later, and rewriting these policies to save them $6, $7, $8. I mean, David would be able to tell you, people will do that all day long for $6 or $8. They'll do it. Or for the same price of what the competitors are willing to offer, maybe you can get the beneficiary another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of coverage. So, this is really helps. I'll tell you, our business at Oxford Life Insurance Company stays a lot longer than what we see in a lot of the competition that's out there for simple facts like that. And here's another reason that'll help you with your persistency. Social Security payment effective dates. We've been doing this for a long time, and this has really helped our clients, or our agents out there, to be able to keep their business in-house. Now, this schedule calendar that you're seeing is back, it's a 2018, but, the point still remains the same. When you've been out there and you've been trying to line up your payments with Social Security, and we'll look at, say, September as an example. So your first payment is the second Wednesday, it's on the 12th. That's great. So you line it up for the 12th. Well, what happens in October? It comes out the 12th. That's 2 days after they were paid. And then in November, it comes out 2 days before they're even paid, and maybe they don't even have the money. What we do is that we bounce that payment around. So on September 12th, the payment will come out 12/01. We're the first people to get that payment. Then the following month in October, it'll come out the 10th, and then the 14th, and then the 12th again in September. We've been doing this highly effective for years. And agents love it. Of course, clients love it because they don't have to worry about their insurance payment not being made. And this is very easy to do on your application. You just check, I want it to come out second, third, fourth Wednesday or whatever. And with this, you can actually go out 45 days. If you're just going to do a regular payment, we'll extend draft day for 30 days. This here, just so you can catch up with Social Security, we'll do extend draft day to 45 days on this. Couple of other quick things. Advanced death benefit, our terminal illness rider. This comes at no cost. This comes with absolutely no more medical underwriting or anything attached to it. This is, if you're found to be terminal illness within 12 months, you can have all of your death benefit given to you at 100%, no questions asked. Common carrier rider, exact same thing. If you're a fare paying rider in a plane, train, Uber, it doesn't matter. If you're killed while being a fare-paying passenger, we will actually double the benefit. 10 becomes 20, 20 becomes 30, 30 becomes 60. So, quick things about it. This is a full-level death benefit. This is a day one death benefit. We're issued through 50 to 85 on our insurance products. People ask me all the time, what kind of people, what kind of underwriting do you do? We simply do two things. You're rated for male, female, standard, preferred, that's it. Standard preferred is whether you use nicotine. This should say nicotine, not just tobacco. But you're either a male or a female, or you smoke or you vape or whatever or not. That's the only thing you do. We do no banding. All right, so there's no graded, there's no modified, there's no writing the product, sending it in and saying, well, we'll hope for the best. We'll see what they come back with. When you're standing there in front of your client, especially with our e-app and our point of sale process, the amount of benefit provided to them at the cost that you quoted is done. It is absolutely done. So there's no banding involved into it. We mentioned the annual, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly modes available. Issue amounts $5,000 to $30,000. It does build some cash for emergencies if they do it. And again, it's a level death benefit. We spoke a little bit about the e-apps. I'm going to walk you through the process in about 3 or 4 minutes. Now, a couple of other things I think that we set Oxford Life apart from any other place. We do a 48-hour issue policy. That means if you get excited today, you get yourself contracted, you go out, you write a policy today on Monday. We're going to do our absolute best to get that out the door to you on Wednesday, and we will pay daily commissions through your EFT. We pay on issuance, not on draft. So let's say that you even wrote one of these Social Securities that might be 30, 40 days out. We pay upon the issue itself. So we will get that policy out to you on Wednesday. You will be paid on Wednesday evening on that thing. We do allow some commission advances. And one of the things we're really proud about is our mobile app. If you go into your app store and you look up Oxford Mobile Office, that will provide you with everything that you need right on your smartphone or your tablet, so you'll be able to follow your business. You can do an e-app on it. You can do your Insta-Rate underwriting right on it, and it is 24/7. But you can also fax in your completed applications. You can download them through your agent portal and get them to us. And I mentioned already, there's planning memorial guides that are very popular that you can pass out to your clients. Now, the Assurance One, we just went through. Couple of differences. Main difference, it is a one pay. The second thing is we issue through age 55 through 80 on this one, as opposed to the Assurance product that issues through 50 through 80. The minimum face amount is $5,000. That is the face amount. That's the benefit amount. So depending on the age of your client, you can buy that $5,000 as little as $2,100 or $2,200. Maximum issue amount is $30,000. If you're going to go over to $30,000, we got you handled too because of our single premium life product. It is a full return of premium life product. We can probably talk to a little bit more later at another date, or if you have any questions, you can get a hold of myself or David, and I'll be more than happy to get you some information on that as well. Same thing, it builds cash, and it is a level death benefit. So this is the Insta-Rate product. The Insta-Rate product is our complete point of sale decision process. You now have the confidence to stand in front of your client in your meeting, in your office, in their living room, and know that they're fully underwritten, that they've been accepted or not qualified for the product itself. And so you're not throwing it out into the wind and having to come back, a week later to try to renegotiate, maybe a higher premium or less benefit. It is done right then and there. And it is available 24/7. If you don't like telephone calls, skip it. You don't have to do it a telephone call. You can do it all online. This is a simple script pull. We don't get involved in MIB or anything like that. We're only interested in the script. Now, people ask me from time to time, what about the other underwriting rules? The other underwriting rules are simple. They're all built into the application itself. And here's how it works. Step one is going to be the application. Within the application is your basic information that you would write on any application. On the second page of the application, there are 14 questions. The first question being height and weight. That chart is available on our website as well. You can download and you have it. But then there's a following 13 other questions. Nothing too crazy, nothing too goofy, but health questions that typically look back at either an instance of something or a 2-year look back on it. Your client has to answer no to the rest of those 13 questions. If they answer yes to any of them, we're not for you. Move on to the next either client or the next carrier itself. Now, one thing that we are adamant about is field underwriting. These sales cannot be done fully over the telephone itself. It has to be done at some point in time. You've had to meet with the client, check the surroundings. You smell cigarette tobacco. Do you see an oxygen tank hiding behind a curtain? We expect you to be out there doing a certain amount of field underwriting for us. So assuming that they get through those 14 health questions, you're fine with the surroundings, everything looks cool, then you move on to the next step. You can either, most people do this as an e-app. So your e-app then is done off your agent portal, your smartphone, if you do have the office mobile app, and you send that in. Second step is through the health assessment, of which you have two ways to be able to do this. One is through the Insta-Rate process. Simple questions that's being asked. You know, height, weight, name, address, social security number, do you use nicotine or not? That's the questions that are asked, and then you punch in. There's a little box that will come via email. They authorize us to be able to do that medical pull. Now we're working on a system where we can do this all off of e-signature. So they'll be able to sign it right onto the onto your tablet or the screen. But give us a little bit of time on that, but this really doesn't slow you up much at all. If you use the Insta-Rate app, it is almost instantaneous. I had an agent a couple of weeks ago decide he was going to time us. He got a decision back in 8.6 seconds, and it was an approval. So it's as quick as that. If your client decides, or you want to decide, or maybe you're in some location that does not have Wi-Fi or anything, you can do the telephone call. No more drill down questions, nothing to be scared of. Same information that they're going to be looking from your client as if you did the Insta-Rate process itself. Just the height, weight, name, address, social security number, and do you use tobacco? They ask for an authorization to be able to pull it. They hand the phone back to you. I think that process is somewhere shy of about 6 minutes right now. The good news is either which way, you are you know the decision at that point in time, you know. So you can tell your client, they've handed the phone back, you can tell your client right then and there that they're approved for the product, so they have the peace of mind. You're not spending your days trying to figure out what's going to happen, and you can move right on to your next appointment. Very quick, very simple, very easy, very competitive products that are available out there with our Assurance and Assurance One program. So basic to run down through it. If you're going to do the electronic version, you just log into oxfordlife.com. It's available 24/7. We've actually had people send in applications to us Christmas Day. I guess they were selling it to their aunt or something while they were eating a turkey dinner. I mean, it's 24/7 access. You go on My Tools. They've now updated it. Says My Tools and then underneath My Tools says Insta-Rate. You just put in the information we talk about. They give us the authorization just to run a prescription check, and then they will receive immediately, less than a minute in most cases, they will receive a qualified or non-qualified answer. If you're going to make the phone call, the phone number is there. You just call the processor your name. If you're currently not contracted with us or you're waiting for your contract to come through, don't let that stop you. You just tell them that you're currently pending, and that's not going to stop them. They ask the simple questions that are right there. No drill down questions. They don't care what's in their underwear drawer or anything. They just want to make sure that they have the right information that matches the application. So if you put John Q. Public, make sure you tell them John Q. Public on the thing, not just John Public, because that's how they match it up once it gets into the home office. And then they just ask for their authorization, and you're good to go. So there's a couple of questions or a couple of phone numbers for you. There's your Insta-Rate. Of course, your agent portal is available 24/7. Sales and marketing is here, but of course there's your regional numbers as well. And don't forget, we're on all of the social media. If you're on, Facebook, if you're on any of the social media sites that are available out there, make sure that you sign up for us, and we'll be able to get you information as they roll along, and you'll be able to get all the updates from us. Again, there's Chad. You don't need to mark down his number because I'll show you where to find it now in a second. Dan, and then myself, and that's it there. So if I can jump up here for a second. Do we got a few minutes, Dave?
Yeah, I'm sure we got some questions that the audience would like to ask. They've asked some already, so I'm going to start with those.
Okay, let's do those.
Okay. So let's see here. I think, yeah, hold on one second. Okay, cool. All right, we should be done now on that. So let me pull up the questions. Guys, go ahead and ask your questions. A good time to do so. Okay. Is Dan Winders related to Tim Winders? That was actually one.
He is.
He is, really? Okay.
This is his dad.
Oh, Tim Winders' dad.
Tim Winders is Dan's dad, yes.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
World. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He looked very much like him. I thought so too. Good call there, Mauro. Can we get a copy of this presentation? Scott asked, would you email me a copy of this if that's okay, just as a review?
I'll see what I could. Are you recording this?
I am, yeah. So if you guys just want to watch the recording,
Yeah, that's the best way to be able to do it.
Okay. Okay. And you showed the regional Eastern director info on the recording, so.
Yeah, if we get 2 minutes at the end of it, I'll show them where to find all that information.
Okay. Let's see here. A couple of questions I had, if you don't mind me asking.
Go ahead.
The Social Security deposit drafting, second, third, fourth Wednesday, is that the case for if the first or the third falls on a Saturday or Sunday? Do you guys draft on the Friday, or is it just for the second, third, fourth Wednesday?
We would draft the day before, or day after, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So if it came in on a Saturday, we hit it on a Monday.
Gotcha. Okay. And there is a question on the application about marijuana use, but it seems inconclusive. How does Oxford look at that?
It would fall into a standard preferred type of situation. So it's not a knockout.
So if somebody smokes weed, they're standard probably, right? Assuming everything.
Yeah, well, they're going to be standard, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And if you don't mind, describe how the contracting works for agents who have just submitted contracting. You guys are just in time. Can you kind of just briefly explain that, please?
Some states are most states are just in time. Other states, when you look at, say, like Georgia requires that you have to be contracted prior to writing any business. So when contracting comes into us as just in time, we set you up with an agent writing number. We do some preliminaries, not a whole lot. We wait until your first piece of business comes in until we do the full background check, the DMV, the criminal, all that sort of stuff. So in some instances, let's say Dave calls me and says, look, I got Wendy, and Wendy needs to get this done. I can get a hold of our contracting department and say, look, let's waive that just in time. Let's get her fully contracted because for whatever reason. Now, I can't do it every single time, but if she's sitting on a piece of business and the client's in town for a week and she just can't, wait for all that, then certainly I can wave a magic wand to try to get the background. Now, I don't have any control of the background once it's started,
Right.
That goes to the counties and all that. And
yeah,
they're pretty quick. We say 3 to 5 days. I rarely see it go beyond that.
And again, for those that are just in time contracting, they would do a paper application. They can't do an e-app to start, correct?
Exactly. I should have brought that up. Your first piece of business has to be done via a paper application and the telephone call. A couple of reasons for that is we want to acclimate you to Oxford life, but also getting in your first piece of business, get you activated into the system.
Right. So you can call up and do the phone interview and just tell them you're pending. You don't have to have a writing number for that first app, and
correct.
Be good. So, okay, cool. Let me see if Nicola asks, what is a list of health issues that will not qualify a prospect? If you want to email me, I'll send you a sample application, and it's pretty straightforward. Oxford's underwriting for their pricing is surprisingly not tight. It's tight in some ways, but it's not in others compared to some of the other low price leaders out there. Most, like what Mike said, is a 2-year look back on most event-based issues, and then your typical knockouts like congestive heart failure, dialysis, and so on.
Right. You're not going to find anything that's too crazy and all of that.
Yeah, I think it's well balanced considering the big sell for me and why I had Mike on is because Oxford does the just in time, well, not just in time contract, the Insta-Rate. You can get these instant decisions while you're in the home with a client with minimal time involved. It beats calling on the phone, waiting 15 to 20 minutes, getting, like you said, interrogated, like a lot of carriers will do. This just makes life so much easier. So,
Yeah.
Do you have an agent accessible prescription drug guide to tell us?
We don't. We used to, and here's what happened. As you and I know, these drugs, they're recategorized all the time. So what we were finding was, John up in such and such, where he would take the drug guide, he'd throw it in the glove compartment of his car, and he'd use that for 2 years. And he would reference it. And these drugs were recategorized out, and he was actually losing business over it. So we just decided, you know what, most people in the field long enough, if someone says, well, I'm on blood thinners, that's not going to happen, that type of stuff. So right now we have no plans to come out with any more.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll say this, usually that would be an issue for me. I like having a prescription guide, but 5 minutes is all you really need to do an Insta-Rate to see where it stands. Most of the time, I imagine an instant decision, yay or nay. And if it doesn't work, then pivot to the other company that does have a prescription guide.
Just make sure you get your application done before your Insta-Rate, because we need to have, and as an agent, you need to have that authorization.
Right.
We don't need selective memory coming into the fold at some point in time.
Yes. Scott, what they won't accept, I mentioned a couple of those. Think of your major conditions that are knockouts with most of the companies. Same with Oxford. Oxford wants your healthy business. So within reason, of course. It's not like a 5-year look back like with Sentinel and Columbian. It's reasonably look back period. They take insulin if it started after 30. They don't take diabetic neuropathy. Of course, no Alzheimer's or neurological problems for that part. So, it's fair considering what you're getting. It's kind of how I look at it. Any last questions from anybody from the audience? Now is the time to ask. I'll just assume not. So, Mike, thank you for being on the call today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem at all. If you got 2 more minutes, I could just show them the website and they can get the applications.
Oh, and real quick, do we need errors and omissions?
Errors and omissions are required, yes.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and share where you want us.
Yeah, just real quickly, I want to bring you into our website. This website, you don't need to actually be registered or contracted. If you follow my arrow, you can see it up here. You go to agents, and then again, you tap on agents. You're going to see 5 of these blocks that come up. All right. You'll be able to follow current rates if you're into annuities. There's all your calculators. So your final expense calculators in the middle of all that. Your agent forms. So if we click agent forms, here's how you're going to be able to find your regional rep. You had a gentleman ask how you find Eastern. There's Chad with all of his information there. But if you want additional information on these products, you're going to go into Oxford Life. You're going to select the product. Let's say we talked about insurance today. You're going to tap insurance, and then we're going to select the state. So let's just say you're in Arizona. Bang, there's all of your applications and everything. Your bolded are the ones that are required. Then, of course, if you're going to be doing 1035s, replacements, if you're looking for your rate card calculators or brochures or height and weight charts, they're all in here. And this will allow you can download it, you can email it, and if we open it up real quick, I'll show you where you can find your health questions in there. So we'll just open up the application. Again, you don't have to log in. As you notice, this is all on the public site. There's your application. And if we go down to page 3 here, there's your questions. All right, so you can jump in there when you have a few minutes. Starts with your height, weight. And again, all of these questions have to be answered no. All right.
One last question for you. This is from Christine. Yeah. After writing your first paper app, can we use the e-app while waiting for background? Or if we find another prospect, we have to do another paper app until we're officially appointed.
Yeah, you got to be fully background checked and contracted. And most likely you will be receiving a call from your regional director. Of course, you will be receiving emails and other communications that you're steady to go. Just make sure that you go in and register for the site, because there's a lot of information that you can get in there. You can even follow your business. People call me and say, well, can you check on this app for me? I say, well, did you register on your portal? And they're saying, no, it's real-time updates. So a processor gets in there, and, you know, there's a requirement. Bang, it is right on your agent portal as soon as they enter it into their system.
Great, great. Thank you very much. All right, Mike. Hey, thank you for your time again. I appreciate you being on.
Not a problem at all. Anytime, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. Okay. Thank you. All right, guys. So a couple other things here I wanted to bring up to you guys up to speed on. Any questions that you got for me on Oxford, please feel free to reach out. They're, again, kind of a core carrier for me going forward in 2020 for all the reasons that Mike mentioned. I think they've really improved their product. They've listened to what agents want, which is the ability to close 100% every time in the home for a competitive premium. So I think you'll like using them. I have been doing some updates to my training website. Again, like I said in the beginning, earlier on, one of the biggest goals that I have is to really just exponentially increase the amount of support, the amount of training, the amount of information available to you to help you succeed in the business. It was kind of something that dawned on me. I've always been good with support and helping agents, but I realized that I could do a lot better than what I'm doing or have done up to this point. So that's why you've seen this number of conference calls just go up tremendously. We're now up to 5 a week now, possibly even 6 every other week. I'm trying to give as much as possible to help you guys get out there and see the people. Yeah. I'm going to actually, Scott asked me, there's an AARP app package. I'm going to post that on the website, the training website, probably after this or by the end of the day. But what I wanted to do today is just kind of show you some updates to the training website, just to keep you abreast of what we're doing and what's going on. So let me share my screen, and I think we're good here. Hold on. All right, cool. We're here. Okay, so this is just got done making some updates to the web page. Again, if you're brand new, these 2 videos will help you at least start. This is going to be updated, so it's good enough to kind of get you started. But I'm going to include eventually a checklist to get started. That was a good recommendation from Joel this morning. I talked to him to help you kind of know what you need to know to have ahead of time and prepared before you get out there and sell anything. Make sure that you're hitting everything. Of course, you got the quoter here. Whoops. The quoter here is for final expense only. It's free. Please feel free to use it to your heart's content. When you're ready to set a lead order, you'll see all of this below here, organized a little bit easier by the product type. I'll let you guys look through that. Of course, selling annuities, all final expense now, as well as all the products are under one particular link. We kind of had it spread out, but I'm trying to organize things a little bit better. The one things I wanted to point out to you are right here. There is a couple of new scripting that I'm recommending, or at least putting it in my presentation script to build on the concept I think is so important, which is tell and show. And I think what this strategy will do is increase your average case size, because you make the case to carry more insurance than the people might actually think. So let me explain to you how that looks here. This is the presentation. I'm going to just jump down exactly to where the big difference is. Again, I just want to point out the big changes. I am now recommending that you guys use a few spreadsheets that describe the inflationary effects that the funeral business is going through and will continue to do. Again, the reason why we do this is because if we can demonstrate to the client that look on a fact-based evidence approach on how prices have gone up over the past 35 years and how they'll probably continue to go up even higher, that now we can make the case to get as much insurance as they can afford and not to shortchange it, if at all possible. Again, the idea here is to just sell the need and to increase the mindset or the vision of what the client's going through or what they may face or their family may face. So again, that we can justify bigger policies when necessary. So the scripting right here, I think it's on like page 5 or something. This is where it's the biggest, and it's a very simple change. It's nothing too complicated. Let me actually show you what I'm talking about. There's 3 downloads here you can do. This first one is an article from Business Insider. The most important part is the second page. You can just keep that. And what happens is that you've got this chart that demonstrates what the cumulative percentage change of cost has been since 1986 to December 2016. And so what you got here are commodities, consumer price index. This is just a running average of what inflation has done across the board for commodities or just everything. And then on the top ones, you have the burial caskets as well as the funeral index. So it's kind of like an index of how prices have changed across the board. And you can see from December 86 to 16, the prices of, this approximate here, but the price increases have been 250%. So in other words, if you have a client that, had their mom or somebody buried, it was $5,000 in December 86 and a 250% increase, it's likely that the same thing they did then is $12,500. So again, we're telling something to them to understand that yes, historically prices have gone up and they're going to continue to go up. And that's the other part of that is, okay, so now that you've seen them gone up, well, today's coverage may not be enough to cover tomorrow's bill. So the next thing we show on the screen here is 2 charts here I pulled up. I found these a long time ago. I thought they're pretty interesting. First one is projected funeral costs. And it says the average funeral expense has been as an inflation of 3.43% since 1913 to 2009. And what this chart does is it shows, based off of 2011 figures, an average of a 3.43 increase in inflation or 4%. So if inflation's higher, what prices will be. So if we look at 2020 and how I describe this in the script, if we got somebody today, $10,000 is an easy average for a burial. Okay, let's call it 11,000 for this case. In just 20 years, at a 3.43% inflation, that price goes from 11,200 and change to $22,003 and change. So again, almost a double increase, and to get the equivalent value in today's dollars. So again, why do we show this? Because all of our clients, they know, they may not use terms like inflation or consumer price index, but they know what gas costs. They've seen it go up. They've also seen the cost of living just go up across the board. They know times are tougher than it used to be and prices are higher. So we're selling this idea that they already know and understand, and then extrapolating it out into how it affects their funeral expenses. So to me, I think getting this laminated, showing this to the client, pointing out, here's what you can expect if the inflation rate stays the same on average as it has for almost the past 100 years. It's a pretty powerful statement to, again, fixate their vision on more than just, a small plan. Even though if that's what we have to get them, then that's great, of course. But this at least opens up the opportunity for more for those who can afford it. Now, the next thing here is cremation. Obviously one thing you can say is, well, what if I just want to be cremated? I want to be buried, right? Well, it's the same problem in cremation. Again, you look at the same average funeral expense inflation rate, 3.43% from 2020 to 2040, just 20 years, you're doubled as far as the amount that you're going to pay for the basic cremation. So again, it paints the picture of need. This is the whole purpose of doing this. I think this will better improve the ability to influence someone to buy an appropriate amount of coverage, because we're tying it with something they already understand and showing them numbers of just what the average price increase will do dramatically to increase the price. So it should be a pretty powerful tool to use. And if you've got any questions on that, let me know. Let's see. I don't think I've got any. Look at this here. I don't think there's any other major changes I've made to the script yet, or beyond that. I did improve and update the appointment setting script. It was a bit out of date. I also wrote up a final expense door knocking script, so you just won't have to rely on the video that I have. So Steve says, any way to add premium amount? Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that would be great if we could sell premium that way. You're going to have to just kind of ballpark it, unfortunately. What Steve is asking, if we're selling 100, what is $100 a month charge? There's no way that we can do that with the quoter. Some calculators have the ability to do it, but it's based on individual carrier. And then also some companies, Oxford does it, I think, is they have a premium chart with face amounts underneath it for each age. So if what's $50 a run for age 65, and they'll tell you. Yes. Impressive article. Are you talking about the one I showed? Yeah. I mean, it just sells, it visually sells exactly what's going on. And again, the big concept that I'm trying, as you'll see if you read through my script, I've already done this a lot, but I want to add on to this, is we're selling a very intangible product. Unlike health insurance, buying a car, getting food, getting cigarettes, there's no immediate gratification with a life insurance policy. You have to literally die in order for it to kick in. So conceptually, it's hard for some people to wrap their heads around. And what we're talking about a lot in our sales presentation is concepts, right? The concept of life insurance. So what I like to implement in my sales training are opportunities to not just tell them, but show them, make it a tangible experience. That's why I like have you guys handing your license over, handing the card over to check it out, handing your family pictures over as you introduce your family and who you are and humanizing yourself. And now showing these charts, the articles, AARP, Colonial Penn, like that's a lot more engagement on behalf of the client. And I think you'll get more interest and you'll get more sales because of it, as opposed to not using it at all. Joel says, missed where you got that from. Where was this on the website? Now I found it. Okay, good. Yes. Let me double check here and see if there's anything else really worth mentioning. I will pull up the door knocking and appointment setting script since we're running out of time. By the way, we're going to do I said we're going to do the appointment setting and door knocking script today, but I forgot the Oxford guy was coming on. Sorry. But if you join me tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, we're going to do appointment setting and door knocking scripts. And then same on Friday. I might on Friday have me go through a sample sales presentation. Somebody asked me last week, why don't you demonstrate exactly word for word what you do in your presentations and have somebody play prospects? So I thought that was a good idea. So I'm probably going to do that Friday, but tomorrow we're going to do the appointment setting and door knocking scripts, working leads. All right, so let me make sure I got everything I need here pulled up. There it is. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Definitely, yeah, we'll definitely do it here. Share the screen here, one last little bit to show. Okay, so this is the appointment setting script. I haven't, if you go look for this video here, I referenced at the top. I haven't put it together yet. Give me a couple of days and I will. The key thing here with the script I want to show you guys is you'll notice as you read this, there's no pronunciation. And the reason and you see how I kind of capitalize certain words. Appointment setting, door knocking is all about performance, right? So we have to emphasize certain words and you have to not let your clients burst in and interrupt. So for example, a script you could use selling final expenses or setting appointments is, hey, this is David Duford. I'm calling about the green postcard you sent off in the mail. Did you receive it? When you ask that question, it's a yes, no question, first of all, right? So if they say no, that's bad. You want them to only be able to answer yes or yes, right? But instead of even asking that, I just go right into the script. And like, for example, hey, Mrs. Jones, this is David Duford. I'm calling about the green postcard you sent off in the mail a few weeks ago requesting information on our new state-regulated final expense program. The reason I'm calling is it's my job to deliver the information you requested and wondered if you're free tomorrow at 10 a.m. or is 2 p.m. better. So you notice there, like, you got to figure out, as you're reading through the script, you've got to figure out where you're going to breathe. And where you don't want to breathe is right where the expected period is at, because your clients may be trying to jump in and take control of the conversation, okay? And you want to make sure that you emphasize these key words. It's my job It's information you requested. These are all hot button words that emphasize the point. And you want to make sure you're doing that right. I'm going to do my video on that as well. Below here, there's 5 common objections with appointment setting. I cover them all. Very simple approach, pretty much the same process for everything. So make sure you check that out and compare that with what you're doing. And then last but not least, our door knocking script, which is almost identical. There's, I think, same 5 objections, just a little bit different. Script is pretty straightforward. So I think there's one question left here. Okay, yeah, I think we got it. So I'm going to put this recording up here shortly. If I can do anything to help you guys out, please feel free to reach out. And I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to check out this training. And let me know if there's anything I can help you with. I will be here ready to take your phone calls and text messages, anything at all. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time. See you next time tomorrow. Bye-bye.